Namaste. Gemini is a wonderful sign. Usually we connect communication and all communication skills with Gemini. That is right. But the higher version of Gemini is above communication, which is known as communion. So in this podcast, I have also shared the difference between communication and communion. In this podcast, I have specifically shared the significance of this transit of Venus, Mercury, Sun in Gemini and how it can help you to not only improve your communication and benefit from your communication, but at the same time, if you are an evolving soul, if you are a spiritual seeker, then this period is excellent for spiritual communion. And in this podcast, I have also mentioned those 6 zodiac signs who will benefit much due to this beautiful transit of Venus, Mercury, and Sun in Gemini. This podcast is exclusively for all my close followers because everybody cannot understand. Even to understand, you need to have a certain depth of understanding. So on this note, let's begin with this podcast. The season of communion as Venus, Mercury and Sun enters the beautiful sign of Gemini. Let's begin. The British English Dictionary defines the word communion as an exchange of thoughts, emotions, participation. On a deeper level, the word communion also refers to strong emotional or spiritual feelings. In religious context, the word communion also refers to a religious group having a common body of beliefs, doctrines, and practices. For Christians, communion specifically refers to the spiritual union between the individual Christians and Jesus Christ. In simple words, communion is simply the collaboration of similar ideas, thoughts, emotions, and feelings. The zodiac sign Gemini is the perfect zodiac where the communion is possible. It is a sign that loves to exchange ideas, thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And now, when Venus, Mercury, and Sun arrives in Gemini, the sign of communion, the season of communion begins. Interestingly, the sign of Gemini is strongly connected to the act of sexual intercourse. Sexual intercourse is also addressed as a sexual communion. Whenever Venus is in the sign of Gemini, the sexual urge is high. And if the native turns to spirituality, then this high sexual urge can get channelized towards a faster spiritual growth. Gemini belongs to the Kama Trikona. Kama Trikona means the triangle of sex energy. Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius form the triangle of sex energy. These 3 signs are therefore very sexy by nature. If your moon, sun, or ascendant is in any of these 3 signs, then by default you are a very sexy person. And if there is a conjunction of Mars and Venus in Gemini, or in Libra, or in Aquarius, then for sure you are bound to experience many passionate sexual relationships in your life. From June 12th to July 6th, This time frame serves as an ideal period for all forms of communion, be it in thoughts, ideas, strategies, emotions, feelings, or even physical connections. Essentially, this is a prime time for brainstorming. Whether you are a lover, an enthusiastic entrepreneur, or a dedicated tech advocate, the transit of Venus, Mercury, and Sun through the sign of Gemini creates the perfect environment for the exchange of ideas and emotions. This will be crucial in helping you establish and finalize the blueprint of your strategic plan. Communion is more powerful than communication. Always remember this. That is why the word communion is connected with the last meal that Jesus had with his 12 disciples. Communion is not a discussion, it is not a debate, it is not an argument, it is not even a dialogue. The communion happens only when you are lost, when you are not there. Communication is of the head, communion is of the heart. It's the heart to heart connection. You need not say anything. That is how communion happens, without words. You don't say much, you mean much. Two lovers sitting by each other's side holding hands, they don't say much, they mean much. Love is enough when it is there. Nothing else need to be said. Deeply merging into each other, just being silent. In that moment, to talk will be a disturbance. Silence is enough. It encompasses them both. They both become part of a deeper silence, a higher silence. That silence takes possession. This is communion from heart to heart. This is love. Thus, the elevated expression of Gemini can facilitate this type of communion. Love blossoms under the transit of Venus and Mercury in Gemini, especially in the chart of someone who is spiritually evolved. This alignment can usher in a period of spiritual connection. If you are single and your life is as barren as a desert, then now, as Venus, Mercury, and the Sun transit in the beautiful sign of Gemini, you could expect a rainfall that would transform your life from a desert to an oasis. The transit is beneficial for 6 zodiac signs. The first lucky one is Gemini. Geminis will feel more relaxed and stress-free during this period. They may take an interest in arts and recreational activities. It is also a wonderful period for romance. The second lucky sign is Libra. Libras will suddenly start feeling lucky. They may see positive developments happening in their life. Long travels will prove beneficial and they will receive blessings from the elderly and the divine. The third lucky sign is Aquarius. Aquarians will benefit from their investments. Even if they had faced some losses in the past, now they will start seeing recovery in their losses. This is a good period to enjoy with their children. It is also a wonderful period for lovers. The fourth lucky sign is Taurus. Taurians will see their financial situation improving. They will also enjoy a good time with their family and friends. During this time, the foodie within them will bounce back and they will enjoy eating out and trying new recipes. The fifth lucky sign is Virgo. Virgos will see good developments at their workplace. They may also receive certain awards or recognition for their good work. Their status will improve and they will enjoy the fruits of their hard labor. The sixth lucky sign is Capricorn. Capricorns will now enjoy working at their workplace. They will see a lot of interaction and discussion happening at their workplace. They will also have good relations with their teammates, and overall routine life will be happier now. The remaining six zodiac signs will also have their own share of joy and pleasures during this period, since the transit of Venus, Mercury and Sun in Gemini is overall positive for all the zodiac signs. Yesterday, as I was discussing about this upcoming transit, Mohan asked, when we are with the Master, is it necessary to communicate our problems or situations to him? Listening to Mohan's question, I had a good laugh. Mohan asked, why you laughed? I laughed because when you are with the Master, there is no need to communicate. All you need is to be in communion with the Master and not communicate with the Master. Truth cannot be communicated, but it can be communed. Communication is verbal. Communion is non-verbal. Communication is through words, thoughts. It is a conversation. Communion is silent. It is silence itself. Real communication happens in silence. When you become a disciple, you enter the world of communion, where no words are spoken, and yet the exchange of feeling, the exchange of emotions happen through silence. Spiritual communion always happens through silence. And so I laughed because when you are with the Master, there is no need to say anything. Everything happens in deep silence. It is the most miraculous thing in the world, the communion between the Master and the disciple. It is almost magic, unbelievable, because just a moment before the candle was unlit and all was dark, and in a split second all is light and the darkness has disappeared and disappeared forever. Just a moment before it was all noise, and now there is no more noise. All is melody and all is music. Just a moment before all, it was hell, and now there is no hell at all, nowhere. One is back home, one has entered into paradise again. This is not possible through communication. It becomes possible only through communion. Communion is the whole art of being with a Master. That's what Sufis call adab. Thus, the coming 20 days is an enchanting period for all those in pursuit of spirituality to delve deeper into communion rather than simply through communication. It is also a wonderful time for romance. Whether you do romance with a person or you do romance with God, as long as you are capable of doing romance, you are alive, you are beautiful, and you are the future Buddha. Romantic love can transform into spiritual love. Always remember this. But first, you have to be romantic. You got to be romantic. In Hinduism, romantic love is a way to experience and express spiritual and emotional connections and can lead people closer to the divine. In Christian religion, some believe that romance is a gift from God and that couples should fight a spiritual battle to achieve the romantic fulfillment God intends. Only a man or only a woman who can fall in love can someday also fall in love with God. And so if you are having feelings for someone, if you are in love with someone, then do not hesitate to express your feelings. Do not hesitate to say those three magical words, I love you. Because that is the beginning. That is the first step towards God. Because God is love and love is real. And so as this beautiful season of love, season of communion begins, let out all your feelings, open up and dance in the breeze. Let there be no fear, because fear is just a thought. Overcome this thought and step up towards love as the season of love begins. This is the time to sing your song. Jai Sri Ganesha, Jai Guru. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.